Imina 27 Legislature in Guam is back from recess. Welcome back, colleagues. Good afternoon. We are now on the consideration of the daily file. Senator Parkinson, you're recognized.
I'd like to make a motion to go back to motions, ma'am.
There's a motion to return to motions. Is there any objection? There's an objection. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. So we're on motions. Are there any motions? Senator Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to add Bill 277-37 LS, an act to extend the power credit another 3 months to the session agenda.
There's a motion notwithstanding the rules to put Bill 277-37. Senator Teitzke, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good afternoon to my colleagues. Madam Speaker, is this bill had a public hearing?
No, it has not.
It has not had a public hearing. So we don't even know the cost of this or, you know, I mean, we have a process here, especially something like this that would cost a lot. So, Madam Speaker, I respectfully object.
So there's been an objection. All in favor of the motion to place Bill 277-37 LS, notwithstanding the rules, please raise your hand. Sorry. So there's some, you want to, sorry, Senator Parkinson, you wanted to close on the motion? Is there? All right, so we're going to vote on the motion. There's been an objection, so all in favor of placing the bill on the second reading file, please raise your hand, notwithstanding the rules. On the agenda, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Motion carries. We're still under motions. Is there any other motion? All right, is there any other motion? Is there any other motion? We're under motions. Is there any other motion? Senator Parkinson? Senator Teitzke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I motion that we reconsider the last vote and ask for a recount to reconsider.
There's a motion to reconsider. Is there any objection to that motion? There's an objection. All in favor of reconsidering the last motion? This is just whether to reconsider or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion. Okay, we will reconsider. So the motion that we're reconsidering is whether to place Bill 277-37 LS onto the agenda, notwithstanding the rules. All in favor? There's an objection to placing it on the agenda. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion carries. All right, we're under motions. Are there any other motions? Senator Paris, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. After consideration with my colleagues and then also speaking with the General Manager, I would like to refer Bill 165 back to committee at this time.
We're going to take a 1-minute recess. We're back from recess. Senator Perez, you had the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I withdraw my motion at this time.
All right, that motion's withdrawn. Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, motion carries. The Senator Parkinson, you're recognized under motions.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. After hearing the discussions from my Republican colleagues who did not want to hear the bill today until we've had a public hearing, in deference and respect to their wishes, I would like to
Point
make
of information, Madam Speaker. Point of information.
Please state your point of information.
objection. She's out of order, ma'am.
Point of information
Please state your
is that-
point of information,
Thank you,
Senator
Madam
Teichner.
Speaker, that the reason why that we objected is because it didn't have a public hearing. Not that we didn't want to hear it today, but it did
Excuse
not
me,
have a
ma'am,
public
that's
hearing.
Thank
exactly
you,
what I
Senator
said.
Teichner. Senator Parkinson, you have the floor.
So, just to repeat, I said, after listening to discussion with my Republican colleagues who did not want to hear the bill today until it had a public hearing.
Madam Speaker, can you please correct him, please? Thank you.
Ma'am, she's out of order. I'm saying.
You have the
exactly-
floor, Senator Parkinson.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to repeat again for the third time, my Republican colleagues, after listening to the discussions, who said they did not want to hear the bill today until we've had a public hearing. So out of respect and deference to their wishes, I will be making a motion to withdraw this bill until we have a public hearing. For the people of Guam, we have already arranged this with the chairman to have a public hearing on the 8th to hear this bill in an expedited manner. But at this time, I would like to make a motion to withdraw it to satisfy my Republican colleagues.
All right, there's a motion to withdraw the bill from the agenda.
And send it back to committee.
Send it back to the committee.
Point of personal privilege.
Please state your point of personal privilege.
Can I have
Senator
the,
Blas.
can I have, in all due respect for the individual, he used the plurality of colleagues. Which colleagues? Which colleagues?
Is that a point of inquiry? Would the sponsor yield to that question?
Yes, ma'am. It was the colleagues that spoke against the motion.
Plural, singular.
Would the sponsor yield to that question?
No.
Okay.
Tito Masi. So
It's a
Senator,
singular.
Senator Parkinson's motion is to withdraw the bill from the agenda or refer the bill back to committee. That's bill number 277-37 LS. Is there any objection? There's an objection. All in favor of the motion to refer the bill back to committee, please raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, we're still under motions. Is there any other motion? Any other motion? If not, we're going to proceed to the third reading, to the consideration of the daily file. We'll begin with the third reading. First bill under third reading is bill number 85-37 LS. Clerks, please read the title.
Bill number 85-37 LS, as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor Procurement and Statistics, Research and Planning, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by William A. Parkinson, Amanda L. Shelton, Thomas J. Fisher, Dwayne T.D. Nicholas, Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, Jesse A. Lujan. An act to add a new subsection C5 to Section 3603 of Article 6, Chapter 3, Title 22, Guam Code Annotated, relative to extending family care and medical leave for miscarriages and stillbirths.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Dueñas. Senator Dueñas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munoz-Barnes. Vice Speaker Munoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator Siniclis. Senator Siniclis, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Teichner. Senator Teichner, aye. Speaker Talahi. Speaker Talahi, aye.
Bill number 85-37LS received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Resolution number 179-37LS. Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution number 179-37LS, as amended by the author, introduced by Jesse A. Lujan, Chris Barnett, Sabina Flores Perez, Roy A. B. Kanata, Dwayne T. D. Nicholas, Joanne M. Brown, William A. Parkinson, Telo T. Tidegui, Christopher M. Duenas, Frank Blas Jr., Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Joe S. San Augustine, Therese M. Terlahi, Thomas J. Fisher, relative to requesting the United States Congress and the Biden administration to favorably consider providing the multi-year funding needed to harden Guam's infrastructure to meet the goals of installation resiliency and ensure Guam is capable of withstanding future natural and man-made threats and disasters.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Duenas. Senator Duenas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicholas. Senator San Nicholas, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Tidegui. Senator Tidegui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye.
Resolution 179-37LS received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Resolution number 260-37LS. Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution number 260-37LS, as amended by the author and further amended on the floor, introduced by Jesse A. Lujan, Chris Barnett, Frank Blas Jr., Joanne M. Brown, Christopher M. Duenas, Thomas J. Fisher, Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, William A. Parkinson, Sabina Flores Perez, Roy A. B. Kanata, Joe S. San Augustine, Dwayne T. D. San Nicholas, Amanda L. Shelton, Telo T. Tidegui, Therese M. Terlahi, relative to supporting Guam's efforts in the U.S. Congress for the passage of HRES 837, introduced in the United States House of Representatives, which seeks to reaffirm the ties between the United States and the Philippines, and to further supporting the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Commitment.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Duenas. Senator Duenas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicholas. Senator San Nicholas, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Tidegui. Senator Tidegui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye.
Resolution number 179-37LS received resolution number 260-37LS received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Bill number 198-37LS. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 198-37LS, as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor Procurement and Statistics, Research and Planning, and further amended on the floor, introduced by Committee on Maritime Transportation, Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, higher education, and the advancement of women, youth, and senior citizens by request of E. Congression Mahobin Guahan, the Guam Youth Congress, in accordance with 2 GCA Section 7102. Chris Barnett, Frank Blosh Jr., Joanne M. Brown, Christopher M. Duenas, Thomas J. Fisher, Jesse A. Lujan, Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, William A. Parkinson, Sabina Flores Perez, Roy A. B. Kanata, Joe S. San Augustine, Dwayne T. D. San Nicholas, Amanda L. Shelton, Telo T. Tadigui, Therese M. Terlahi. An act to amend Section 3116 of Article 1, Chapter 3, Title 16, Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring the distribution of driver's handbooks to Guam public and charter high schools.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Duenas. Senator Duenas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicholas. Senator San Nicholas, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Tadigui. Senator Tadigui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye.
Bill number 198-37LS received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Bill number 211-37 COR. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 211-37 COR, as amended by the Committee on Education, Public Safety, and the Arts, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by Amanda L. Shelton, Roy A. B. Kanata, Jesse A. Lujan, William A. Parkinson, Dwayne T. D. San Nicholas, Joe S. San Augustine, Christopher M. Duenas, Thomas J. Fisher. An act to add a new Section 3223 to Article 2 of Chapter 3, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to prioritizing access to federal financial assistance through the completion of the free application for Federal Student Aid, FAFSA, by Guam Department of Education High School and Academy Charter School seniors.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Duenas. Senator Duenas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes. Vice Speaker Munoz Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicholas. Senator San Nicholas, aye. Senator Shelton.
Senators, we are voting.
Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Tadigui. Senator Tadigui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye.
Bill number 211-37 COR received 15 ayes and is unanimously adopted by this body. Passed by this body. Bill number 244-37 COR. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 244-37 COR, as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor, Procurement and Statistics, Research and Planning, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by Therese M. Terlahi, Sabina Flores Perez, Chris Barnett, Joe S. San Augustine. An act to add a new section 57109 to Chapter 57 of Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to providing a Guam identification card and Guam Real ID fee waiver for juniors and seniors in high school, foster children, or children under the custody of CPS, a juvenile upon order by the court, and residents of Guam aged 65 years or older.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Dueñas. Senator Dueñas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, aye. Senator San Agustin. Senator San Agustin, aye. Senator Siniclis. Senator Siniclis, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye.
Bill number 244-37 COR received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Bill number 166-37 COR. Clerk, please read the title. Sorry, my eyes. Excuse me. Bill number 165-37 COR. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 165-37 COR, as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor Procurement and Statistics, Research and Planning, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by Sabina Flores Perez, Chris Barnett, Therese M. Terlahi, Dwayne T.D. Siniclis, Joe S. San Agustin. An act to add a new Article 11 and a new Section 51A120C to Chapter 51A of Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, and add a new Section 14104P to Chapter 14 of Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Guam Solid Waste Authority Island-wide Collection Plan.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, nay. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, nay. Senator Dueñas. Senator Dueñas, nay. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, nay. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes, pass. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, pass. Senator San Agustin. Senator San Agustin, aye. Senator Siniclis. Senator Siniclis, nay. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, pass. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes, pass. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, pass. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, pass. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, pass, nay. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, nay.
Bill number 165-37 COR received 8 ayes, 7 nays, and is duly passed by this body. Bill number 262-37 LS. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 262-37 LS, introduced by William A. Parkinson. An act to approve the terms and conditions of the issuance by Guam Power Authority of revenue bonds to refund outstanding Guam Power Authority revenue bonds.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Dueñas. Senator Dueñas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Canata. Senator Canata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicolas. Senator San Nicolas, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, aye. Speaker Talahi. Speaker Talahi, aye.
Bill number 262-37LS received 15 ayes and is unanimously passed by this body. Bill number 244-37COR. Clerk, please read the title. I'm sorry, pardon me. Bill number 234-37COR. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 234-37COR, introduced by Joe S. San Augustine, Tina Rose Muñoz-Barnes, Roy A.B. Canata, Dwayne T.D. San Nicolas. An act to amend Section 90.308 of Article 7, Chapter 90, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to increasing the pledge or reservation of revenues of the Department of Correction Modernization Act of 2021.
Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, nay. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, nay. Senator Dueñas. Senator Dueñas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, aye. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes. Vice Speaker Muñoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, aye. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Canata. Senator Canata, aye. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, aye. Senator San Nicolas. Senator San Nicolas, aye. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, aye. Senator Taitigui. Senator Taitigui, nay. Speaker Talahi. Speaker Talahi, aye.
Bill number 234-37COR received 12 ayes and 3 nays and is duly passed by this body. All right, we'll now proceed with the voting file. All of these will be by show of hands. On the nomination of Roberta M. Abade to serve as a member, Community at Large Representative of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. All in favor, please raise your hand. Roberta M. Abade received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Christine W. Belletto to serve as a member, upper-level management position and private business representative of the Guam Education Board. All in favor, please raise your hand. Christine M. Belletto received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Michelle M. S. Santos, EDD, to serve as a member of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. All in favor, please raise your hand. Michelle M. S. Santos received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Selena Ashland to serve as a member, construction industry representative of the Guam Contractors License Board. All in favor, please raise your hand. Selena Ashland received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Bernard Neil S. Beneventi to serve as a member, construction industry representative of the Guam Contractors License Board. All in favor, please raise your hand. Bernard Neal S. Beneventi received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Matthew C. Cruz to serve as a member, General Public Representative of the Guam Contractors License Board, all in favor, please raise your hand. Matthew C. Cruz received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. On the nomination of Rosemary A. Clement to serve as a member of the Guam Educational Telecommunications Corporation, KGTF PBS, Board of Trustees, all in favor, please raise your hand. Rosemary A. Clement received unanimous support and is duly confirmed by this body. We're now on vetoed bill number 213-37 COR. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 213-37 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by Telo T. Taidagui, Joanne Brown, Jesse A. Lujan, William A. Parkinson, Chris Barnett, Zabina Flores Perez, Frank Blanche Jr., Therese M. Terlahi, Thomas J. Fisher, Christopher M. Duenas. An act to add a new section 1909C1 to Chapter 19 of Title I, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the duties of the public auditor.
This will be roll call vote. The question is, shall vetoed bill 213-37 COR pass, notwithstanding the objections of Imagahagan Guahan? Roll call.
Senator Barnett. Senator Barnett, aye. Senator Blas. Senator Blas, aye. Senator Brown. Senator Brown, aye. Senator Duenas. Senator Duenas, aye. Senator Fisher. Senator Fisher, nay. Senator Lujan. Senator Lujan, aye. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes, pass. Senator Parkinson. Senator Parkinson, nay. Senator Perez. Senator Perez, aye. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, pass. Senator San Augustine. Senator San Augustine, nay. Senator San Nicolas. Senator San Nicolas, pass. Senator Shelton. Senator Shelton, nay. Senator Taidagui. Senator Taidagui, aye. Speaker Terlahi. Speaker Terlahi, aye. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes, nay. Senator Kanata. Senator Kanata, nay. Senator San Nicolas. Senator San Nicolas, nay.
Vetoed bill number 213-37 COR received 8 ayes and 7 nays, and the vetoed bill failed override. We're now under brief extension of remarks. Is there anyone who would like to be recognized under brief extension of remarks? Senator Parkinson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to talk about something a little bit more personal and near and dear to myself. When I was growing up, I used to watch Sunday morning cartoons. Loved them. Tenko and the Guardians of Magic, American Ninja Warrior, WWF when it was still the WWF. But there was one show in particular that I really loved, and that was Dragon Ball by the late, great Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama recently passed away, and I just wanted to take this moment to express my love and admiration of his work because of how deeply it affected me growing up. You know, because I grew up during that 90s McDojo era, you know, Karate Kid, karate schools all over the place. And so every morning I loved watching martial arts movies and martial arts show, and Dragon Ball was one of my absolute favorites. About this kid going on adventures, trying to find these magical balls that could grant a wish. And when I went back home to the Philippines to visit my family, lo and behold, I was excited to tell them about this whole new cool show I was going to watch. And when I got there, they were already watching this show called Dragon Ball Z. And to my childhood mind, it completely blew me away that I saw a character that I saw as a pudgy little kid grow up to this awesome, amazing martial arts warrior. And so I was just hooked for life. And, you know, some of the lessons and values I took from this childhood show have stuck with me today. And so I just wanted to express my love for the work of Akira Toriyama and just leave with the people of Guam with these wise words from the Turtle Hermit when it comes to martial arts. Now listen to me, boys. Always remember these words. Work hard, study well, eat and sleep plenty. That is the Turtle Hermit way. We must always master the peaceful arts as well as the martial arts. Thank you, Akira Toriyama, for your work. Please teach an angel how to ride a giant dinosaur. With that, Madam Chair, I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Senator. On brief extension of remarks, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized? Senator Taitsui, you're recognized.
Sijus Masi, Madam Speaker. Today, it was truly a major loss for the people of Guam. Truly a major loss. The override failed. It failed by individuals who voted yes for the bill, even by individuals who sponsored as a co-sponsor of the bill. They knew exactly what this bill was all about. I guess it's only a good idea until the governor tells you it's a good idea or not. It's disheartening to see that the loyalty to the governor is more important than the loyalty to the people of Guam. Everyone I've spoken to said that this bill makes sense. Oh, it's gonna pass, hello. It's gonna beat that override because it's common sense. They can't do the job, then they have to pay for it. Especially after we're hearing so many of these directors get raises. Raises for what? Not doing their job? And this body, those individuals, those 7 who voted no on the override, is condoning that. Bill 213-37 would have established penalties for the government of Guam directors who fail to provide the Guam's public auditor the information necessary. It's interesting how easy we can declare a call to arms with the spirit of collaboration. But when it comes to making policy that would make our process more efficient, generally improve our ability to make decisions, and ultimately curb government corruption, we suddenly can't seem to agree on these interests we serve when we're in elected office. Once you're sitting here, all of a sudden you just totally forget. It seems that the only sentiments of embracing collaboration spirits are only true when it's at the behest of the governor. Rather than helping to ensure the government of Guam directors do their job, the governor, by vetoing the bill, and you're sitting right next to them, those who voted no. The governor that by vetoing the bill sent a message to directors that they can continue to delay the completion of the audit without fear of repercussions. Those senators who changed their mind after initially supporting the bill are complacent. The loyalty to the governor or any individual should never supersede loyalty to the principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance. And above all, to support the people of Guam, those who vote you into office. Now they will see where your true feelings are. Madam Speaker, it's so disheartening. I also want to explain my reason for voting no on the universal trash. I don't think we had enough opportunity for the public to get involved. I don't think we had the ability to make certain situations for individuals who don't generate enough trash. There were so many concerns that came our way. I introduced amendments in the legislation, but it was not enough. But the only good thing I can see is that it needs to go through the AAA process. And the one amendment that I incorporated in there is that it cannot lapse into law. It has to be approved by this body. And I hope with time that those concerns will be addressed in those rules and regulations. I commend the author of the legislation, but I just really think there should have been more roundtables, more discussion on the matter, instead of it going from public hearing to straight here. We understand that there's been conversations with GSWA, conversations with EPA, but where are the conversations with the public? Where are those conversations? Especially something like this. I just pray. Excuse me, Madam Speaker, I think. Thank you. Other than that, Madam Speaker, I think too that we have to consider another bill that I voted no on for the pure sake of not understanding. Oh, it's time, I'm sorry. Well, I thank you for the opportunity. My time is up. And have a good weekend, everyone. Please, stay tuned. The public, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching and spreading on the word out.
Sijusmasi, Senator Taitakui. On brief extension of remarks, is there anyone else who'd like to be recognized? Senator Brown, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You know, all you can do sometimes is tell someone to get off the tracks because the train is coming. Hear the train? Train's coming. Get off the tracks. And of course, you know, we all have free will. I am very disappointed, colleagues, because I tell you, out of any legislature I've ever served with, and I've served with a few, stretching back 30 years, I've never seen a legislature like I've seen the last two. Just hop, skip, and step to the governor's desire. It's not because I don't like the governor. I spent a lot of years serving with the governor in this body. She was a friend of mine. So at a personal level, I don't dislike the governor. I'm disappointed with some of the decisions that get made, especially decisions that don't demand accountability, especially for a governor that has a cabinet. You know, we all run for office and we promise the people so many things. We promise them that somehow their life will be better, their life will be safer, their children's future will be bright. If you only please just give me one precious vote. Please, 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 please. And yet, once we get in this body, all of a sudden, some of us, we feel, ooh, we got the power of the people in our hands. And we can move the money the way we want to move the money because we got the power. Look at me. But you know what, my dear colleagues that want to go on the wrong side of the road, keep walking on the wrong side of the road. Because I'll tell you something, do not underestimate the judgment of the people. I have seen colleagues come in here that have come in high, and they're like, wow, look at me. I'm like right up there. And within a single term, they're right out there. Because they just made the wrong decision. They didn't tune into the desires of the people. I've seen a number of them make the wrong decisions. And I've seen a number of senators get unelected. And you know what? If I get unelected, Madam Speaker, I'm okay. Because I got principle and I got conviction and I'm willing to stand up and fight for what I think is important. And I ran to serve the people. And I think my job as a senator is to ensure that this government is responsible, most especially with the people's money. Because it's not our money, even though we like to walk around thinking, hey, no problem, I got that 15 million covered. Yeah. It's the same thing with the two other bills I voted no on today. It's not because I don't like these bills, but you know what I see? I see we're on a racetrack. We hold a hearing, and then we're on session. We hold a hearing, and we're on session. And if it's not on session, it's a potential, we're going to vote and we're going to put on. Really, without vetting these bills well, looking at what the implications can be and getting the information, because we've got to churn out the bills so we can tell the people of Guam, look at me. Oh my God. Look, vote for me, say, I did all these bills for you. And yet, do we really know? Are we actually improving the lives, the safety, the well-being, the health care of our people? Probably not. But we can go out and tell the people of Guam that's what we've done. So colleagues, please keep doing what you're doing. I love it. I used to have a colleague that used to object to every minor amendment a Republican made on the floor. Our one term in the 27th Guam Legislature that we were actually a minority. Objection! From the back of the room. And I'm like, please, 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 keep objecting. It's the only reason I ran in the 38th Guam Legislature is to remove that majority that was there that mishandled and misused their power. So by all means, please stay on the wrong side of the road. Because if you think somehow being all together is going to be to your benefit, We'll see. We'll see what the people of Guam decide, because you know what? When you don't demand the most basic foundation of accountability in this government, what do you stand for? Who do you stand for? Ask yourself, because I think a lot of people out there are going to start asking themselves, because you want to plaster yourself with the administration? You think that's the train that's going to get you where you want to go? I'm going to say, get off the tracks. The train's coming.
Senator Brown. On a brief extension of remarks, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized? Senator St. Nicholas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to salvage whatever we have left of, try to end on a much more positive note. You know, when I was in the Army, we'd go out to the range, and the drill sergeants would say, scan your lane, scan your lane. I know it's our, you know, we've taken multiple history classes, and I do understand checks and balances. But there's a, you know, there's a fine line. So when, and it's not because the governor called me up or anything or whatever. You know, I did this on my free will, and so I voted not to override, and I opted to scan my lane, as a good infantry soldier would do. I do, however, would like to, you know, to bring back respect amongst us, both houses, perhaps all three of our houses, so that way we can actually work together and not try to impede on the other house. And it's about respect. You know, as elected leaders, we're elected also to try to set the tone of how we're going to move forward. And it's not all gray skies, you know. It's not all gray skies. You know, sometimes the sun comes out. And I like to focus more on that and the positivities that can bring along, because I believe that when we do stuff like that, we can actually work together and bring about good change for the people. I didn't vote on, although I worked real hard with, and we hammered it out with Senator Sabina Perez, the author of that GSWA bill. But I have to apologize. Last minute, my auntie told me off, boy, you know, I don't have a bill now, and then you're going to give me a bill. And I heard that they were cautioning the author to try to bring it back into committee, so that way we can address some of the Manamco's concerns. So basically, I was really concerned about the Manamco, because I've been approached by a lot of Manamcos lately, and they say, boy, I don't need that whole big trash bin that they give me. You know, I only make this much trash. Maybe they can lower the rate for me so I can have a smaller trash bin, because I don't do that. But there's a lot of concerns that were brought up about that bill, particularly by the Manamco. And so I wanted to address that concerns perhaps in maybe another day. But, you know, and I objected because I wanted that power bill. You know, we can sling funds and, you know, rates and stuff here, you know, how much money it's going to cost there and how much money it's going to cost there. And really, you don't really feel it right here in the session floor, because, you know, we're just talking about what's on paper. But if you ever had a chance to relieve the suffering of our people, and perhaps giving them a $100 rebate every month, I would climb any mountain, sell any seed. Maybe not, because I have chronic arthritis, so I probably won't do that. But figure of speech, I would do anything that I could to pass out, to hand out if it was a surplus and if it was money that we can tangibly see, I would do anything anything I can to alleviate that suffering. I would also like to pass on maybe lowering the rates to businesses, and as much as I would love to, and that's about giving hope, and it's not about, you know, you're doing what the governor wants you to do. Remember, I was the one who voted against or voted for 185, and you know that was a, you know, I just want to let everybody know that, you know, we don't always do what the governor wants us to do, and I've noticed in politics in my short time here that sometimes the people who accuse you of the most wrongdoing might actually be themselves part of that. So I wanted to end on a more positive note. You get what you get the respect you give, and thank goodness the Lord gave me a lot of patience. I can give a lot more respect than usual. But I pray that we all have a wonderful weekend, and that we continue to move forward with everybody, and you know, try to alleviate some of the strain living here on this tiny island. And with that, Madam Speaker, I yield the rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator San Nicolas. Is there anyone else who would like to be recognized under extension? Senator Duenas, you're recognized.
Tidus Masi, Madam Speaker. I think between the 36th Guam Legislature and the 37th Guam Legislature, I probably have been at the forefront of many failed overrides. But I fundamentally know and believe the purpose for legislation for checks and balances that I introduced, and I will stand firm with that. And I will stand firm, particularly in this instance, whereby it's extremely important to send a message from this body that appointed officials who we have given advice and consent to have to have a level of accountability, particularly when our public auditor states that there should be a level of accountability for that. You know, Madam Speaker, this is not unique. The first elected public auditor, actually, and it was an executive direction by then Governor Camacho. I remember this very vividly, that executive summaries and budgets had to be accounted for every quarter, or directors were fined under that time in the first inception of the public auditor. And if you did not follow through and submit electronically and in hard copy, you were going to have a nice meeting with the governor when you failed to do so. So I stand disappointed in the fact that this override did not pass. But I want to move on to something else. Madam Speaker, several weeks ago, there was a story in the paper that the hospital, even after the $30 million in bailout, is $22 million in negative right now. Madam Speaker, the reason why many of us Republicans on this side of the aisle want to at least make sure we have public hearings is because there's times in this body where bills get introduced to make people feel good and pit things against each other. I want to be positive too. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to be the guy standing there saying, I gave you a $100 power credit, but there's no medicine at the hospital. I'm not going to be the guy that's sitting here after we pass that bill, or we don't ask that question on the record, Madam Speaker, that the vendors have stopped providing supplies to the hospital. There's a reason for this process. There's a reason. There was not even a motion when that bill was introduced to hit the floor, Madam Speaker, to go to committee of the whole. What were we going to do? Just pass it because we're going to make everybody feel good? You know, we have waned and waxed and been all over the place in this legislature with excess revenues. But darn it, let's do one thing. Let's do it after we get the information that we need. We don't even have enough police cars on the road right now, let alone the lack of officers. The list can go on, Madam Speaker. And I too will climb up Mount Lam or whatever mountain it is to help people. And I know it's needed. But let's just do it right. Let's not do it just because we have the votes. I hope, Madam Speaker, and I'm not chiding you from this floor, but we need to have another oversight for the hospital. That's alarming. And I don't even know what we're going to do in the budget this year. Because they say the result of the issue that exists right now, and I'll close, the result of the issue that exists right now is they were woefully underfunded. And then we went in this legislature, gave them another $30 million, and Ms. Hechinova once again comes forward and says, we are now tracking $22 million behind. So let's get our affairs in order, have public hearings so we can determine whether the amount of money is available for the programs that we want to fund. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. As on brief extension of remarks, Senator Fisher, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Just two things I'd like to say. This weekend is, to me, it's the most beautiful village on island. I'm a little bit biased, I suppose. This weekend is the Talafofo Banana Festival. And that's going to start tonight at 5 o'clock, right? And the Senate is giving a certificate tomorrow at 2:30 to commemorate the Banana Festival. So it's beginning tonight at 5 and will run through Sunday evening. And I hope you will all come down to that festival and support our neighbors. And everybody should dress like a banana. And I'm sure that won't be a problem. I got my tie already, so I'm on my way. This is a little more somber, I think, than the last remark I'd like to make. The reason I'm making it is we were not in session yesterday, and the date yesterday was April 25th, and I think this comment will probably resonate more with the Nanamko of our community and probably more with the veterans of our community, and I hope with all. We're approaching the 80th Liberation Day on the 21st, and the reason I bring that up is because April 25th was Anzac Day. Australia and New Zealand Anzac Day, which commemorates the deaths of our brothers and sisters from our island neighbors, for the war deaths in World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Why do I bring that up, and why do I talk about that in conjunction with Liberation Day? And I think that's why I say I think this will probably resonate a little bit more with our Manamko, many of whom are still suffering physically, spiritually, and psychologically from that horrendous fascist Japanese occupation in which so many of our brothers and sisters, our ancestors, were killed, and so much blood was shed. Australia's sacrifices and New Zealand's sacrifices during World War II contributed significantly to the liberation of Guam. Australia sacrificed her young men for freedom and liberty and to support Guam's quest for freedom as well. And the same is true of our New Zealand brothers and sisters. You know, it was truly a global effort to secure those freedoms and protect those freedoms, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to protect those freedoms. I just bring that up. It's hardly a celebration, but we can't forget the sacrifices of our brothers and sisters. We cannot forget the sacrifices of our grandparents and great-grandparents. You know, I was up at, it's apropos of nothing in particular, but I was up at Harmon yesterday, and it occurred to me that that was an airfield constructed by the Japanese. Actually, it was constructed by the Chamorro young boys who were forced to march to that field from as far away as Mauricio in Australia, or excuse me, Mauricio and Jigo. And many of them lost their lives from starvation and torture and outright murder. It just, I guess the reason I'm saying that is the sacrifices of people resonate even to this day on this island. There's not a person in this room whose family has not been directly affected by that global calamity. And I would just like to, I would like the people of Australia and New Zealand, if they can hear this, to know that they are not alone in the remembrance of their children. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fisher. On extension of remarks, is there any other senator who would like to be recognized? Senator Barnett, you are recognized.
Biba Betnes, Sidos Masi, Madam Speaker. I think it was a couple days ago that I stood up and spoke about this attempted override that just failed. And back in the day, I did an old skit, the Chamorro Psychic Hotline, and in that skit, the psychic, who isn't really a psychic at all, but it just really states the obvious truth, says humana, 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 and then will say something very obvious. And I guess they say art imitates life, because that's exactly what I did a couple days ago. I said, hey, this veto came down from the governor, this override was passed unanimously, and just watch, it's going to be the same cast of characters. When we got in, they called them the Adeloop 6, and now they have grown in number, and they are referred to by many in different chat groups across the WhatsApp as the Adeloop 7. And you know, when the override failed, I got some texts, and people were texting me because, you know, I'm a member in this body, and I'm a representative of this body and what it does, and they were texting me that they were disappointed. They said those senators in there who voted against this override don't want change. They want things to stay the same. They said it was shameful. And I agree. When we talk about those who voted against this override not wanting change, what kind of change are we who supported the override looking for? We're looking for the change that the people of Guam have been clamoring and asking and begging for. They want more accountability. They want more transparency. And unfortunately, we can't seem to pass bills that do any of those things. Whether it's, you know, trying to bar individuals convicted of official misconduct from working in the government of Guam, another bill that passed, I want to say unanimously, and then it seems like we don't even believe in ourselves. We can stand up here and we could say, this is the best bill for the people of Guam, and we want to hold the directors accountable. But when the governor writes her veto letter and she doesn't like it, all of a sudden, we don't believe in what we just spoke about. And I think it really is, a previous speaker talked about who you're serving. And, you know, and just one of the moments where the mics were off here in the session hall, one of my colleagues, who had previously said that he was only going to run for one term, had remarked something like, oh, the lieutenant governor wants me to run again, right? And so I think that's part of the problem, is that we have a stranglehold in this body of individuals who are elected by the people of Guam, but would rather serve other elected officials. And if you look across our government, and that's fine, it's a free island, you're free to do what you want, but there are consequences to that, and I think that, you know, unfortunately, we're going to see some of those consequences in the upcoming elections. Because when you watch the news, you read the paper, it's across the government. I mean, we just read yesterday, a police officer tested positive for meth. They found a glass crack pipe in the officer's vehicle. The week before that, I wrote to the director of corrections who had 2 of his officers test positive for drugs. And I said, why aren't you enforcing the zero tolerance policy? We saw in the media reported unsealed federal court documents that tell us of a gambling ring, an illegal gambling ring, that was run by officers of Guam's premier law enforcement department. I hear rumors from people out there that there's a law enforcement officer who's getting paid to be in rehab right now. And so when you look at all these things, it's clear why the people of Guam would be upset that we didn't pass this measure, because they're not asking for a revolution. They're just asking for a basic groundwork of accountability for government employees, accountability for law enforcement, accountability for these directors. And say what you will about this legislature, but we don't hear anything from the governor and the lieutenant governor about holding government employees, whether they be law enforcement or cabinet members, accountable. The only ones who are saying those things occupy seats in this body. And until we can all say the same thing about basic tenets of accountability and transparency that the people of Guam deserve, we're not going to get anywhere. But they're watching, and they'll be voting this election. Sizus Masi, Madam Speaker.
Sizus Masi, Senator Barnett. On brief extension of remarks, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized? Senator Blas, you're recognized.
Just very short. It's kind of interesting how things turned out today. You know, a couple weeks ago, I sent a letter to the Department of Administration asking on the status of payments that were due by law, passed by this body, that were supposed to have been completed by the 31st of December last year. And no movement on it at that time. Fortunately, there has been some movement. But that's after a bunch of cajoling and pressuring and just basically just being in the face of saying, hey, follow the law, follow the law, follow the law. Apparently, the law that we all passed here. Okay? This body passed. It was ignored. And then, you know, like I said, a couple weeks ago, I sent a letter asking for the status because I was still getting calls from government employees, both active and retired, and unfortunately, in a couple of them, families of deceased government employees who were owed merit bonuses, who haven't received it. And I got a response yesterday, or a couple days ago. No, yesterday. Sir, we apologize, but here's where we're at. These are the agencies that are still lacking or still pending payments for their employees and for their retirees. Not satisfied because this should have been completed by the 31st of December. It is now, what, the 25th of April? What is it? Anyways. 26? 26, here we go. And went through and I got a listing of agencies that were lacking. I assure you, sir, this is the complete listing. This is what's lacking. Last night at an event, I get pulled to the side by a group of employees, government employees, from a certain entity. And they said, Senator, thank you for your standing up for us for our merit bonuses. But I just want to tell you that we haven't received ours yet. I said, what agency are you from? They said, we're from this agency. I pulled up my list that I was given by Edward Byrne, assured that this was a complete list. Guess what? The agency that these employees were involved in or employed with weren't on the list. I said, maybe that's why you haven't gotten paid, is because they haven't acknowledged that they owe you. But then they're, what can be done? Because we have no consequence. There is no consequence for people entrusted to be able to run government entities, to be able to provide necessary reports in a timely manner. So, when you leave here today, this weekend, when an employee comes to you and says, or a retired comes to you and says, what about my merit bonus? When am I getting it? What consequence does the government have, or should the director have, for not being able to meet the mandate? You answer that question for them.
Susan Mossy, as Minority Leader, Senator Blas. On extension of remarks, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Senator Lujan, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank our colleagues today, and actually this session. Today we had collectively sent a strong message to Congress on Resolution 179-37 LS, of course sponsored by each and every one of us and unanimously voted on. Agencies, our utility agencies, had already requested, of course, U.S. Congress and the Biden administration, for the much-needed funding to harden our infrastructure to meet the goals, of course, of the resiliency, not just, again, for future natural disasters, but, of course, man-made threats and man-made threats as well. And we know that all too real. So today, again, the people's representative, alongside directors and utility agencies and also other agencies that have been victims, of course, of, say, cyber attacks, that the people of Guam and its representatives have today spoken and requesting, and likewise had been requested also from our delegate, our congressman in D.C. So these two resolutions, or this particular resolution as well, and I'll talk about the next one real soon here, but in Resolution 179-37 LS, we have spoken with one voice. We are truly united in one Guam and one voice in our unanimous vote. Also, Resolution 260-37 LS, again, sponsored by every single individual senator in this body, likewise got unanimous vote. And relative, again, to supporting Guam's effort in the U.S. Congress, again, in the passage of House Resolution 837 introduced in Congress, where our delegate as well had introduced that. And it seeks to reaffirm the ties between the United States and the Philippines to further supporting the U.S.-Philippine Mutual Defense Agreement. We know that our brothers and sisters in the Philippines, we know that China has been asserting its perceived domination in the region, especially around the Philippine area, through the construction, of course, of artificial islands, military installation, military actions in disputed areas, and it has been a growing concern. And it is great to see now that the new administration, the Aquino administration, or I'm sorry, the Marcos administration, have been great allies with our country's always been great allies, but to see administration, the Marcos administration and the U.S., again, in mutual agreement. Unfortunately, the previous Philippine administration wasn't in concert with a lot of our views and our alliance. So I want to thank the body because, again, you know, if they can do this to our brothers and sisters in the Philippines as a country, with an army, with its own army, we are the next ones, and us being the tip of the spear. And yes, we have our U.S. military, but we don't have our own army. We have our U.S. military. So I want to thank, again, my colleagues for this. It goes a long ways as well in our pursuit for our Guam visa waiver, Philippine visa waiver. And these two resolutions will go a long ways, again, in helping us to try to achieve that as we get our audience with not only maybe the State Department and the Biden administration, but also with the Marcos administration in hopefully weeks to come. With that, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And colleagues, have a great and safe weekend. And thank you again. You know, democracy at work here in this House, the People's House. Again, former Speaker Pinco's house and this august body, and what this hall was named after. And again, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and again, have a great weekend, colleagues.
Senator Lujan. On brief extension of remarks, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized? Vice? You don't mind.
Speaker Chilai, you're recognized on extension of remarks. You may proceed.
Madam Speaker and colleagues, and I just rise to thank my colleagues who supported the bills that passed this term, particularly, although it's not my bill, I want to thank them for supporting Bill 165, which was the universal trash collection. And I think this bill, you know, it has been a little bit controversial, but I think the legislature did a very good job in trying to take care of all of the concerns that have been brought up in the public hearing, including the concerns of those who do take their trash to the transfer stations and the concerns of the agencies, and of course the costs for those who are struggling on Guam right now, and of course the costs of the receivership and what we need to do to close that up. And but what I really, of course, I'm most grateful for is that it's another bill that the legislature has passed that supports the environment, Guam's environment. And it's amazing to me that bill was a very technical bill. It took a lot of hard work to put that together, but most of the environmental bills that we have seen are actually similar. They're technical. They're talking about, trying to match U.S. EPA regulations, Guam's rules and regulations, and what we can afford and what we can, mandate everyone to do versus, what is the cost to doing business and all of those things. And we try to balance them out as best as possible. And but I'm just amazed because on top of the passage of the universal tax collection, and which I hope the governor supports because it was something that she raised much earlier, and I think it's a very good deal at this point. We might not get anything better. But on top of that, just the 37th Guam Legislature alone, and in fact, just my colleague, Senator Perez alone, has put in bills and been able to pass into law other laws regarding changing the littering violations. And many of these bills are geared towards the illegal dumping that is one of the top concerns of the people of Guam. A very difficult thing that over decades we have not been able to control, despite the efforts of our regulatory agencies such as EPA, DPW, all of them. It's just gotten worse. So hopefully these increased violations from another public law, this public law for the universal tax collection, the other laws that have been passed for our environment by Senator Perez include establishing the Ore Dump Reserve Fund, and all of this with the help of our colleagues relative to the disposal of abandoned and junk vehicles, the air quality standards for sulfur dioxide for the Guam EPA, those all in just the 37th Guam Legislature. But immediately prior to that, in the 36th Guam Legislature, prior to the typhoon, we were dealing with open burning and detonation of hazardous waste, promoting recycling and zero waste initiatives. These were huge initiatives worked on by EPA for many years and finally passed into law, taking that former Dedido transfer station, converting it to Guam EPA's use for headquarters, and in turn cleaning it up from toxic contamination. Also, enhancing Guam's capacity to address illegal dumping, a moratorium on seabed mining for health issues, technical assistance, also additional funding to eradicate the brown tree snake from Donald or Cocos Island. Other efforts include in the 35th Guam Legislature, we adopted tropical building codes and energy codes relative to be implemented in Guam, and relative to the prevention and prosecution of wildfires as a threat to persons, property, and the environment. There are many others. I see my time is up, but I'm not even done with the list. I just wanted to say that these take great effort and great cooperation by our community and huge research and cooperation of our agencies. And so I just want to thank all of them, and thank my colleagues, thank Senator Perez for all the work that it takes to really tackle these huge decades-long issues on Guam, particularly the environment is what I'm going to highlight today. So, Sizus Masi, again, to all of those involved, to my colleagues.
Thank you, Speaker. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the extension of remarks? If not, Senator, Majority Leader, Secretary Shelton.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move to go back to motion.
On that motion, seeing or hearing no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, you are recognized on a motion.
Sizus Masi, Madam Speaker, I move to resolve into the Committee of the Whole for the purpose of receiving the State of the Judiciary Address by the Honorable Robert J. Torres, Chief Justice of Guam, and to allow the honored guests into the Speaker Antonio R. M. Pinco Legislative Session Hall, and that it be conducted in its formal manner, and that we recess until Wednesday, May 11th, 2024 at 10 a.m. to prepare for the same.
I think it's May 1st, Secretary.
Excuse me, May 1st.
May 1st at, did you say May 1st at 10?
10 a.m.
May
1st at 10 a.m.
On that motion, are there any objections? We will be in recess. Saina Masi. Hamza Todas, have a good weekend. See you soon, Bini DC.